Hello, everyone, and welcome back.
Welcome back.
We are, I'm Matt.
I'm Jimmy.
We're two average guys. Here coming at you from Nebraska. We're going to be talking about the Huskers first. Talk about the Husker game and kind of how things went. I think there's a lot to say, so we'll cover some of that. We'll talk about the Big Ten and the Big Ten struggles yesterday. So we'll cover some of that, and then some of the other games. There weren't really too many upsets, but there were a lot of close games, so we'll cover that as well. You can follow us on Cornhusker Nation or Two Average Guys if you're watching on Cornhusker Nation. Go ahead and switch over to Two Average Guys. Go ahead and comment, and we'll respond as well, and go and watch the video here. So,
Absolutely.
Go ahead and take it away, Jimmy. Your thoughts on first game under Frost?
Okay, first game under Frost. Man, it was just a bummer that we lost. That's one thing. Couple things. Penalties for one, which normally after you play the first game, you kind of clean some things up. We didn't get that. We didn't play our first game.
Mm-hmm.
This was our first game. That put us back in a few different spots, especially at the end. Could have won the game, but we got a late penalty on Reed and pass interference, which was questionable, whatever you want to say. It was probably the right call. A lot of good things. Adrian Martinez was fantastic.
Yeah.
The skill position guys are great. The running backs, a couple drops by our, Stanley Morgan and J.D. Spielman, which are a little bit uncharacteristic. Another thing that maybe could have cost us the game.
Yeah.
But no, a lot of fight out of the team. One thing we talked about was we were excited to watch, teams play a full game,
Mm-hmm.
not give up. We went down 14-0 right away. We had a couple early turnovers, and they could have been costly. They were costly.
They were. They
But
14 points.
They could have, in years past, that would have snowballed, and we would have gotten absolutely blown out.
Absolutely, and I think that, to me, that's one of the biggest takeaways is we went down early 14-0. And last year, even the year before when we had a pretty good season with Riley, but our first year with Riley, even some of the years with Bo, we go down 14-0, we struggle to come back in games. And I think going down 14-0, everyone, my brother was texting me, he was upset about it. I said, man, it's early, give our defense a little bit of time, we got to get our feet underneath us. But either way, you go down 14-0, knowing the history over the past years is we struggle to come back in games.
Right, and they did score 14 points pretty easily on our defense, and
Yes.
It was like, man, we've seen this before.
But the second one, they got really good field position. So,
Right.
But our defense didn't look good. Our defense started
Right.
very slow. Our coverage was slow. Our linebackers were slow. We weren't getting pressure on the quarterback. But then once we started to roll a little bit on defense, and then we scored our first touchdown. Martinez had a nice long run, put a nice juke move on the D end, I believe, as well. That really sparked the offense, and I think that really sparked the defense too. And never give up. No fear of failure is the motto this year for that team. And they really turned things around and started to kick in gear on both offense and defense. And we really saw a big change in that first half from what we saw the first two drives. Huge change moving forward from there.
Right, and I think one big turning point was when Martinez had that 41-yard touchdown run.
Mm-hmm.
It got, it was the first touchdown of the season. It was the first long play, that type of thing. Got everybody's, the crowd was rocking, and they started feeling it a little bit after that.
Yeah.
And they kept rolling.
Well, and you look at last year with what's his bucket quarterback with Tanner Lee. We never saw any runs. His longest run was like 3 yards.
Right.
So so that was a big difference.
And too. There was two rushes of over 40 yards. That touchdown run being one of them.
Yep.
That we didn't have any rushes over 40 yards last year.
No, and that was, to be able to see that in our first game and see a freshman, and then also to have 4 running backs who ran the ball really well.
Oh yeah, it didn't matter who was in there.
Obviously, Greg Bell fumbled on his carry
which
down.
we didn't see live.
Yeah, and unfortunately he did fumble, but those are teachable and coachable moments that you grow from, and from there on, he looked great after that. He looked really good after that.
He was really good.
So Martinez had 15 rushes for 117 yards, 2 TDs. Bell had 13 rushes for over 100 yards. And then Zigbo had 14 carries for 60 yards and a TD. Personally, I wish they would have used the Zigbo more. I thought Zigbo had a lot of better speed for one.
He was way faster. He looks like he cut weight.
He cut weight from last year.
Yeah, you definitely tell.
You could tell he looked faster, and then it looked like he still had that power though, which is always good to see because Zigbo is kind of that power guy.
And one thing we had talked about was, one of the frustrating thing was the 2 4th downs that we didn't get, and Zigbo has been that guy. And so I don't know why.
He's like the Amani Cross when we had Amani Cross. You get down the goal line, you get down a yard short, fourth and short, you're going to go for it. You go for it. And I wish we would have used a Zigbo in that area. They also read the play though. Colorado's defense. They knew what we were going to do.
They did. And we kind of did the same thing twice.
Yeah.
And
on the one, the guy made a super awesome tackle. I mean, he dove straight underneath, and they were talking about a rugby tackle. I mean, that's what he did.
It was a
really good play by Colorado. But, Grant says, definitely a slow start, but defense definitely 100% better. I mean, dude, we had 7 sacks. We haven't had 7 sacks in a game since 2011.
They're flying around.
I mean, Davis looked great. Barry looked great. Williams had some great plays on defense. I think one of the weaknesses on our defense is going to be Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
He really struggled yesterday. I think he's got the talent.
They said he's improved, and I think he has improved a little bit, but he was still, a couple times where you see it, a spot where it doesn't look great, and then 21.
Yeah, I mean, the Davis kids look great. Barry was awesome up the middle. He had some really good tackles.
Oh, yeah, he was awesome.
Gifford looked good again.
He had a couple sacks. He was always in there. He was flying around.
1.5. I mean, 7 sacks in a game. We had 14 all last season. So if you can be excited about something, be excited that our defense actually looked. And I actually saw a couple, not only Adam Carricker, but a couple other defensive guys post on Twitter, post on Facebook. I mean, how proud they were of that defense. Jason Peters said it as well. How proud they were of that defense to play as hard as they did. I mean, our defense, I saw an article that said the defense just didn't come up when they needed to. And I'm like, no, that's false. Our defense kept us in the game. Right. 100% kept us in that game.
And the run blocking was great.
Oh,
or the run defense. Sorry,
the run
defense was great. Give credit to Colorado. They were a little better than I thought they would be. I think they were better than some people had expected them to be. Their quarterback was good.
He's a solid player. I mean, he's got a good arm.
Yeah.
There were many times when he had really good protection, and I could have swore he's going to go deep on us, and we're screwed. But our coverage was so good downfield, he had to scramble, and that's when we got our sacks. So I think our defense, our coverage on some of those passes where they're trying to go deep, I think we covered well with the corner and a safety, or we just had really good one-on-one coverage. Our linebackers, we brought the blitz a lot.
Yeah.
And you could tell when we let some of that pressure off, that's when they were getting the longer run plays. They were getting some of those shorter pass plays, the out routes.
Those kind of mid-range passes.
Yeah,
was when we didn't bring the pressure.
Yeah, I mean, but really our defense, they kept us in the game. I was really disappointed, maybe isn't the right word, but I was kind of sad about our offense in the second half because, once we scored 21 points, we only scored one more TD.
That's true.
I thought our offense was kind of kicking and rolling, and the second half came in, and we kind of lost the momentum once Colorado, kept playing. They stopped us a couple times, but I really thought we had some opportunities that we missed out on. We had some, I think, poor play calling, a couple sweeps that weren't really necessary. We called the option a couple times where they stoked it out right away.
Right, or we fumbled. We got it, but we fumbled.
Yeah, so I think there was a couple plays that are really questionable. But our O-line drastically improved from last year.
Oh, absolutely.
Drastically. They had 2 sacks on us yesterday. And last year, Tanner Lee couldn't move out of the pocket, and our offensive line wasn't good.
Right.
Our offensive line drastically improved from last year.
You can definitely tell that they spent, since Scott came in, that they have hit the weight room, hit the conditioning, all that stuff.
And 44 yards rushing on offense for Colorado.
Yeah.
So
and at one point they had negative yards in the first half, and we had
Yeah, they had like -2 at some point.
Negative
-3 rushing yards,
or something like that.
There was a lot of things that you could say. Obviously Martinez getting hurt. I wasn't really worried about his legs. If you watch the play, a guy kind of dove on him late, right on his leg. He was already hurt before that, and you could tell, I don't know if it was a cramp, but something was bugging him before that because right after the one play where he got up and was kind of limping a little bit, you could tell he was a little tender. The next play he got sacked. He was kind of running out. His knee hit the ground before he threw it, but you could tell he didn't have that breakaway. He couldn't break away, but earlier in the game he could. So I think he was already laboring, but then that last play where he did officially go out, he did have someone come on and hit him late. which I think was classic Colorado, if you will.
Yeah.
But I mean, there were so many. My immediate reaction, my gut reaction after the game, I was pissed. I don't know how many F-bombs I said. I was not happy. That's just the passionate fan in me coming out, which
Right.
I think any Husker fan, extremely passionate. Hopefully a lot of people slept on it or had time to sober up yesterday after the game and really think of all the positive things we did in that game that really we beat ourselves.
Right.
But you got to take away those positive things because what we saw last year, we would have given up 60 points last year to Colorado if it was last year's team. We would have given up 60 points easy yesterday.
Yep.
No doubt about it.
Just a couple things to touch on. Andrew Bunch came in, a couple minutes left in the game. It's a really tough spot to come in. He looked a little shaky right away.
Yeah.
But came to, and he hit J.D. Spielman for what looked like a first down, which potentially would have won the game, but he dropped it. He gets a chance again. It takes us, inside, takes down to 20, and we had a chance to win the game.
Kind of strong-armed it.
Probably a little amped. I mean, that was the first time he got in the game.
Yeah, and Stanley Morgan's drop in the end zone. I mean, Martinez placed a couple beautiful passes right in the breadbasket of our players, and they dropped it. And that's so uncharacteristic to see from guys like Spielman and Morgan.
Well, because those guys, last year, that was really the only bright spot we had.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Those guys.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you're counting on them and hoping everybody else picks up the slack.
Yeah, well...
And then they do, and it's just kind of frustrating to see.
Well, and Williams, wide receiver Williams, actually had a pretty good game. He had 40 yards. He had a couple of catches.
Don't get me wrong. I mean, both J.D. Spielman had a 50-whatever-yard touchdown catch.
Where he laid it right into the back.
Right. And Stanley had catches, too. I mean, I'm not...
They still had 75 yards, 67 yards.
It's easy to point out the bad ones when...
They were just really bad drops.
Right.
But Andrew Bunch, he did look well in the spring game, Nathan. And that was one thing I told a lot of people that were really bummed about Jebbia is, did you watch the spring game? Because Bunch looked really good in the spring game. The guy can throw the ball.
Yeah, he can sling it,
and not only that, but he can scramble.
Right.
Last year we didn't have a QB that scrambled. Riker 5 could not scramble. He could run away the wrong way, but he could not scramble and make a play. Andrew Bunch can do that, and he may not be able to run as well as Martinez or a lot of our past quarterbacks, but he can at least scramble out of the pocket and create something for himself, like a lot of the NFL QBs can do. They can scramble, get out, and make something happen. Our receivers can get open.
Right.
But we got to get Tyjon Lindsey involved too. Tyjon Lindsey didn't catch a pass yesterday. I don't even think he was thrown to. He got two, end arounds or two sweeps when he came around.
He's a punt returner, and again, that's what I said. The penalties. This is what I first touched on. Punt returns. We got a penalty on like every single punt return that took us back to starting position at the 10.
Yeah. Yep.
And that's just frustrating
that
to see.
That was frustrating. And a really good point by Grant. Last year they had to catch everything because they didn't have much else of a game. Our offensive line was bad. We couldn't run the ball. But this year, he's like, they're not used to quarterback hitting him in the chest.
That's probably
That's very true. They had to make some really good catches last year.
Like
now they get
being
right
open
to him.
and
oh my God, I can catch this ball.
But interesting thing, just goes to show you, Jebbia leaves.
Yep.
I mean, we don't know the status of Martinez. I was looking this morning. I haven't seen anything.
Nothing yet.
But, I mean, he could be out for a significant time. I don't think that he is, but he could be.
He could be.
Or he might not be 100%.
Yeah. We'll see. I mean, and so I
maybe it is better that we have Bunch, because maybe he will be better than what Jebbia.
And I saw a lot of people just like, oh, where's Jebbia now? It's not. Like, you guys got to get over it. I mean, he left. He's gone. He's at Oregon State. Forget about him. Focus on Andrew Bunch. I mean, how would you feel if you're Andrew Bunch and people are like, oh, Jebbia this, Jebbia... No. Focus on Andrew Bunch. He's a good quarterback. He's going to do fine when he's in. He did fine yesterday, 4 for 9. He had 49 yards. So, I mean, he's averaging over 11 yards per pass. He's not a bad quarterback. He's going to do fine. Yes, he's a walk-on.
And he came in a tough spot with a few minutes left.
And he played well. He threw a pass right on target for Spielman where he's the one who can catch it, and he didn't make the play. So, I mean, yes, he didn't win the game for us, but he also didn't lose the game for us. He's going to be fine. So one thing that I'm really hopeful for this next week is we clean up some of those mistakes that we made. And even all the coaches were saying it, including Frost, is we're going to make some of those freshman mistakes. We're going to make those first game mistakes, which is why it was a bummer we didn't get those out of the way against Akron.
Yeah.
Yes, we would have beat Akron last week with the mistakes we made against Colorado.
Agreed.
But Colorado is a much improved team from last year. They still look pretty good. The one penalty on Reed was not a good penalty to take. It's also questionable on whether or not it should have been called. It could go either way. Here's the deal. The pass was not catchable.
Right.
So, and the receiver had already overlooked the pass. It was by him by the time Reed hit him, and he was turning his head. Reed didn't hit him with his helmet. He didn't make an illegal hit. If anything else, they could have called him sportsmanlike, but it wasn't really unnecessary roughness because he didn't hit him that hard. But you know who he hit? The coach's son. The coach's son went down as if he died. And if you watch the replay, if you were watching the game, he flopped so hard onto his stomach and laid there for a second as if he got hit really hard.
Until the flag came out.
So that was really good acting. But like I said, a lot of great takeaways for Nebraska yesterday.
Yeah.
And I think we ride that into next week and moving forward. I mean, you got a Michigan State team who lost yesterday to Arizona State.
Right.
We got some Big Ten matchups with teams like Minnesota who barely beat Fresno State.
Yeah, I mean,
we got Michigan who they scored a lot of points yesterday, but they didn't play anybody.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely excited. I mean, it was frustrating to lose, especially there's a lot of hype, a lot of excitement. Scott Frost comes in. I mean, everybody wants him to win the first game. He was upset that he didn't win the first game. I think he held back his emotions a little bit.
Yeah.
But
I think overall,
I was down in Lincoln. People were. I wouldn't necessarily say shocked. I said shocked when I talked to you.
Yeah.
I think they were surprised. I mean, I think people really expected a win, and people saw how much better we were. And to have the outcome still be the same as it has been was very,
Oh, not as it has been, in the sense of a loss, yes.
As a sense of a loss, yes.
In the sense of a different team. I mean, that's why I said last night I was really ticked off. And that's your initial reaction when you lose a game. You're going to be mad. When you're passionate like we are, and Husker fans are very passionate, you're going to throw the F-bomb around. You're going to say, God, why did we do that? Why did Reed get that penalty? You're going to start blaming. But then when you really step back and think about the game, and that's what I tried to do last night, is kind of section off the game for each quarter and each play and say, what could we have done differently? What did we do well? And guess what? The coaches are going to do that in the film room. They're going to sit down with the guys and say, you see this interception that you threw Martinez with the guy, your vision was straight towards who you were throwing to. His eyes were really good, by the way. he searches the field. He moves his feet in the pocket well. He's very poised in the pocket. That one interception he threw, though, was a really bad interception.
Right. And you can also say we probably should have ran the ball at that time.
Yep.
That's what I said.
There's but those are the kind of things you look in the film and you got to say, okay, this is what we can do different. And extremely impressed, though.
Yes,
and
me too.
I'm jacked about the rest of the season because I saw so many good things that we're going to be able to learn from and continue to do better moving forward.
Well, and the thing is, we were 4-8 last year. We were terrible.
Mm-hmm.
And, we lose our first game. We said we're not going to win the national championship this year. Mm. We knew this.
Or the Big Ten championship. We know that.
So it's all about progressing.
Yep.
And, we have Scott Frost for at least 7 years.
At least 7 years.
Because we're not going to fire him, because if we fire him, who else are we going to hire?
Yeah. Well, and look, you got to look at...
So, this is just a starting point.
Yeah, I mean, you saw so many good things yesterday. I mean, such a quick turnaround from last year through the summer and then through the spring, summer, and fall to get to where they were yesterday. I mean, huge strides. And I think everybody who is a Husker fan should be able to notice that. And if you can't, then your head's in the wrong place. You need to rethink. And you need to rethink about who we have on our team, freshman quarterback. There were things we did wrong, things we did right, and there's only ways to improve. But our defense drastically improved from last year. Offensive line drastically improved. 4 really good running backs that showed they can run the ball, they can break tackles, very shifty. Martinez was shifty. On that touchdown run, he made me think of Eric Crouch. I mean, he had a great fake on, and he just juked the one guy he needed to, and boom, he was gone. Breakaway speed.
There was nobody close.
Yeah.
I mean,
he had to beat, I think, a safety or a corner that was kind of coming up behind. But I mean, breakaway speed. He had zero. He didn't show any fear in the pocket.
It was very easy to see how he got chosen as the starting quarterback.
His confidence level. I mean, yes, if nothing else, yesterday only boosted the confidence of not only the offense but the defense. Martinez, good confidence. I mean, how can the defense not just be super happy? I mean, a couple of the O-linemen spoke out, and they were upset.
They were mad.
They were really upset about the fourth down plays.
Yeah.
So they blame themselves, and
those guys.
that is what you want to see from your offensive line when, hey, we didn't do our job because we didn't get the first downs. That's our fault.
We were better than we have been these last couple of years, but when it came down to it, we didn't get the job done.
Oh, yeah. So Graham mentioned open field tackles. Holy cow.
Oh, yeah.
Talk about not only the open field tackles, but the closing speed.
Just tackling in general.
The gap closure, yes, tackling in general. But there was a couple plays where they had some side passes, and I was seeing Barry ran up on one and just drilled him in the open field.
Gifford was flying around.
The speed that we had on closing that gap from where we were and they were to stop them from gaining 10, 12, 15 yards and gaining 3 or 4 yards. I mean, I was super impressed by that. You could see a difference in speed.
Yes, absolutely.
But yeah, I mean,
and just the scheme in general. I mean, guys flying in, one play that this side's going blitz, this side's backing up. Mm-hmm. Last year it was all just sit back.
Well, you saw offensive linemen going like this on a pass play. I mean, they weren't even trying to rush QB. You had 3 or 4 guys sitting there going like this with the guys blocking, and the guys were like, "This is easy." Yeah. You guys aren't even trying to hit our quarterback. Exactly. So, I mean, I was super impressed. I thought our defense was phenomenal.
Only thing is, and not necessarily their fault, but a turnover by the defense would have been huge.
And we almost had 2. We almost had 2 picks.
Right. Gosh, that would have been nice because I think that could have made a difference in the game.
But hey, still, we'll go for that next week.
When you get 7 sacks.
7 sacks, Skyler. We had 7. But yes, the last time we had 6 sacks, I don't know. The last time we had 7, I think they said was 2011, was the last time we had 7 sacks in a game. So you're talking about 7 years that we've had that many sacks in a game. But as I mentioned earlier in the video, Skylers, we had 14 total last year. Total in the entire season, 12 games. And we had 7 in our first game this year. So that attack mentality, Nathan, absolutely. I mean, I loved it too. It was, you get the ball, I'm going to hit you.
Yeah.
Watch out.
I'm interested to see how Colorado does this year, with the Pac-12 being kind of, whatever.
They're 2-0.
Yeah, I mean, Colorado State won yesterday.
Colorado State did win. That's true. Yeah, so that kind of helps them.
Anyway, encouraging to see. Like you said, disappointed isn't really the right word. Maybe just a little sad.
Just down. I didn't cry like Colorado's coach. McIntyre was crying after the game. He said it was a historical win, so great for the program.
Dude, we're going to beat you down in Boulder next year.
Dude, you didn't even play against Nebraska ever. You've never coached against Nebraska, and you're crying as if you've played them 7 years in a row and lost all 7 years.
We're going to beat them down in Boulder next year.
That's if
we should maybe try to go.
That's if their fans don't try to throw, oranges and stuff at us and break our windshields.
Batteries and...
Yeah,
piss snowballs and stuff like that.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens next year at Boulder. But I mean, the coach crying was a little overboard. I mean, you didn't beat a top 10 program. You didn't even beat a top 25 team. You beat a team who didn't play last week with a freshman quarterback. Also, one more thing I gotta say. So not only the coach crying was funny, but a couple people were like, "Oh, you gotta feel bad for that kicker for Colorado. He's 31."
Yeah, he's older than me.
He's my age. You don't gotta feel bad for a 31-year-old kicker who missed 2 field goals. He pulled all of his kicks left. I knew he was going to miss those 2 kicks because he pulled his 2 previous ones left. And he was 2 for 4. Whatever. But don't feel bad for a kicker. He's 31 years old. You got nothing to feel bad about.
Although that did give me some hope. I did say to him, hey, look at this guy. I'm going to start practicing so I can maybe play for Nebraska next year.
Yeah. Hey, there you go. But anyways, like I said, Husker fans, be proud. Be excited about what's to come. I think we're only going to build and get better on what we saw yesterday. And if nothing else, you should feel extremely excited about that because there's so many things we could do. And Nathan, we'll get to that here in just a second. Absolutely. So Nathan just mentioned a couple of our Big Ten foes on who's beatable. So let's talk a little bit about what happened in college football yesterday. We started with Friday night. TCU played SMU.
I watched a little bit.
SMU kind of looks good sometimes, and sometimes it don't. You just never know what you're going to get. Very slow start to the game. It started with like a 2-hour rain delay, so the game didn't start till like 9, 10 o'clock at night. Super late. I watched the first half, and it was 14-12 at half. TCU was up.
It was like 9-0 when I was watching it.
Yeah, so 14-12. And then I woke up and it was like 42-12 was the final score. So TCU really picked it up in the second half. Maybe the rain stopped, I don't know. But that kicked us off on Friday. On Saturday, a couple of the games that I was really surprised about is some of the Big Ten games.
Right.
I think out of every conference, we probably had one of the worst showings yesterday for teams that should have won and didn't win. That's kind of what week 1, usually week 1, 2, and 3, or at least 2 of those 3 weeks are, we should definitely win this game. Because you're playing FCS teams or very low on the totem pole FBS teams that don't recruit like a lot of the bigger schools.
Right.
So we saw Purdue lose to Eastern Michigan.
Yeah, that was kind of a surprise because watching that, and I didn't see any of it because, like I said, I was down in Lincoln. But watching that Northwestern Purdue game that first night, I thought both teams looked really good.
See, and I thought the opposite. I wasn't impressed.
Okay.
And the only reason I wasn't impressed because I didn't see a whole lot to wow me. And I thought first game of the season, you're playing a Big Ten foe. I mean, you should be coming out with all the stops and trying to really play well. And I thought both teams, it is the first game of the season, but I thought they looked a little sluggish. The offense looked good at times, bad at times. I thought it was kind of a mixture of good and bad, but I wasn't impressed. It was an exciting game to watch.
Maybe that was just it. It was a close game.
It was
maybe that was just, and it was the first game.
But Purdue's quarterback looks fine.
Which one did they
number
play?
4, Moore.
Moore is awesome.
Moore is fantastic. So I think he got stopped a lot yesterday. But I mean, give it to Eastern Michigan. They came in prepared. They watched film from last week and said, you know what? Hey, we can do this. They're an FCS team.
Keon Moore.
Mm-hmm.
And then what else?
Yeah.
You know?
We got another more. So, I mean, really, Purdue losing to Eastern Michigan was a big shot yesterday to not only Purdue, but I think the Big Ten as well.
Preseason, these experts had Purdue as an 8-4 team.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And so Purdue, and then you got Northwestern lost like right before Purdue did. And so that Northwestern loss to Duke. Now, some people say, oh, Duke sometimes looks promising. Duke's not a football school.
It's interesting.
They have some good teams sometimes, but
Duke beat them last year too, and then Northwestern had 10-win season.
That's right.
Weird.
Yeah, weird. So really, I mean, losing to Duke that's not a good loss for Northwestern.
Big Ten West took a hit yesterday.
They did, but and they even said a couple guys were like, I guarantee Northwestern wins this weekend. They're going to pop in the top 25. Well, they lost to Duke, so they're definitely not going to be in the top 25 now. And they got a tough road ahead to get up there and show themselves that, hey, we're a worthy team. I didn't see any stats on this game. I only saw a very short amount of that game. So I'm not sure if
not good.
Thorson must have struggled, or whoever they played at quarterback. I don't even know if he played, so I didn't really get to watch much. But we're talking about teams that are beatable. So Purdue, Northwestern, absolutely they're beatable, especially by a Nebraska team with what we saw yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
And what we're going to grow and be better at. I think they're definitely beatable, 100%. And then you got, Michigan State. So Michigan State lost to Arizona State. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But they lost to Arizona State on the last-second field goal. That was a really late game last night.
I watched that.
That was at Arizona State. So Herm Edwards go ahead and they take that game. Good win for him.
They popped him into the top 25.
Good win for him. So congrats on your win, Herm Edwards. That was a big win.
It really was. I mean, that was kind of a shocking coaching hire, I would say. And said he hasn't coached in like 10 years.
But they held Michigan State to a touchdown and 2 field goals. So
and they looked pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, the only difference was an extra field goal, and that was with 3 seconds left in the game. So Arizona State won with 3 seconds left. I mean, talk about a big pick-me-up for ASU. So congratulations on your W. Rutgers got pummeled by Ohio State, so everyone saw that coming. It's Rutgers. Still wondering why they play football and why they're in the Big Ten, but they just get pummeled every year, unfortunately. But then you had Indiana won, Illinois won. Illinois looked good again. Minnesota won, but on a last-second touchdown to beat Fresno State. So even they look suspect. Minnesota is very beatable as well.
Another Big Ten West team.
Yeah, so if you look at, like Nathan said, Purdue, Michigan State, Northwestern, Iowa won 13-3. And they didn't score. I think their touchdowns in the fourth quarter.
Their games have got to just be absolutely boring to watch. I mean, it was 3-0 last week at halftime. They ended up scoring some points in the second half.
I mean, you can talk defense all you want.
Yeah, I mean, that's great.
I mean, defense wins championships. Yeah, but if you can only put up 13 points, you're never going to beat Alabama and Ohio State, Oklahoma, Georgia. You're never going to beat those teams because you have to put up points. I mean,
that's great. Okay, you guys beat Northern Illinois last week, and then you beat Iowa State this week. And Iowa State didn't get to play last week, and they were a decent team. They were a much improved team last year with Matt Campbell. So holding them to 3 points is probably pretty decent. Yeah, don't get me wrong.
We know Iowa's defense is going to be good. We know that.
That just cannot be fun to watch.
Yeah,
Sorry, Jason.
And there was a few games yesterday. The Stanford USC game. Holy cow, man! If anyone watched that game, that was boring. Very boring. 17-3.
Yeah.
That was awful. And they said Love had a great game. No, he did not. He had like 23 carries for 126 yards. I mean, that's their one goal is to stop Bryce Love because guess what? Stanford can't throw the ball.
5+ yards. I mean, 5+ yards of carries, not bad, but
for a guy
if
last
that's
year,
all you're doing.
For a guy last year, he looked much better.
And he only had 29 yards first.
He was supposed to be a Heisman contender this year, but his first 2 games, he had 19 yards last year, or 26 yards and like 18 carries last week.
Yeah.
I don't. They got to be more. They're a very one-dimensional team. And so that game was very hard to watch. USC's quarterback threw a couple picks. He's JT Daniels, true freshman. We got a few true freshmen playing this year. So,
for a team like USC, get this kid some reps, get him a tough loss like that, and build on that, and maybe they'll be back in a couple of years.
Yeah, and so Grant mentioned, Wisconsin looks like a beatable team as well. Once we start clicking and kind of get things going.
As long as you can stop Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, we got to get going first. Well, our rush defense can play that well, we stop Jonathan Taylor. We put the big game in Hornibrook's hands.
We can get some turnovers on Hornibrook for sure.
And we've shown Hornibrook has shown that he throws picks in pressure situations. So yes, Wisconsin's definitely beatable. I think we have a lot of hope as Nebraska going forward in the Big Ten, in the Big Ten West, to see what can we do.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting moving forward. So let's talk about rest of the Big Ten. Really, Ohio State. No one had any doubt they were going to destroy Rutgers. Michigan. They were pissed off about losing to Notre Dame last week, so they brought in Savannah State, and said we're going to put up 77 points on you. How about that, FCS?
Did they?
Or no, Miami won 77 to Savannah State.
They scored like 49 points or something.
Yeah, Michigan ended up scoring quite a few points as well and winning their game against some slack teams. So really not, Michigan, who knows what they're going to do. They lost to Notre Dame, but
we'll probably beat them. We'll see what happens. We'll probably beat them on the road in 2 weeks.
I hope we beat them. Let's see. Frost is bringing in high-end players that want to play. Absolutely. You look at, and what he said when Jebby left is we want people here that want to be here and want to play. And so, absolutely, we're bringing in guys that want to play. And you could tell yesterday they wanted to play for him. They're just as disappointed as we are in the game, if not more, because they're the ones that are playing it.
Well, and they know that they just they were just a couple mistakes away from winning that game.
Oh, yeah.
Offense and defense.
Yeah, 5 straight 3-and-outs yesterday by our defense as well. God,
I think we had like a sack on every.
When was the last time that we did that? I can't tell you last time we did 5 straight 3-and-outs. Maybe. Maybe back when Levante David was there and Randy Gregory played. Maybe, but I just can't think of a time. Sue against Colorado.
Against Texas.
Yeah, so it's just crazy. And speaking of Texas, so Texas squeaked by yesterday with the win over Tulsa, 28-21. Texas has some rebuilding to do still. They got a couple years, I think.
And that is kind of frustrating because preseason you kind of look at week 1, week 2, week 3 matchups, and you see Texas USC, and that's pretty exciting for week 3. Well, now neither one of them are really that great. So
no, I think that game's could be kind of boring, to be honest.
And it's like
unless
game.
Maybe we'll see zero defense, a lot of points. I don't know, but either way, I just don't see that game being exciting. If USC Stanford wasn't exciting, USC Texas isn't going to be exciting. Yeah. So I just don't see it happening. Obviously, Bama rolled Arkansas State. No one saw anything different happening there. We saw Clemson and A&M, so you watched a good amount of that game. Clemson came off, it really started well, and it came off putting up some points, and I'm like, man, Clemson's going to roll A&M, because A&M didn't look that good last week.
Well, and they didn't look that great offensively.
No.
But that quarterback ended up putting up a lot of yards for A&M.
Yeah.
A lot more yards than Clemson has seen, other than, maybe playing Alabama or something like that. A&M looked pretty good. Jimbo Fisher had him. He's a good coach. He's a good play caller. He knows what to do, and they lost by 2 points. It was kind of a suspect call. I showed you the video before we started. They were down by 8. It was 28-20. A&M caught a pass. 3rd and 8. Caught a pass over the middle. Guy broke it to the outside, down the sideline towards the goal line. At the 3-yard line, he got hit. The ball went flying out. They called it a touchback.
Yeah, and they said it went through the end zone when in the replay, even the pylon camera does not show the ball
like
go
way over
the pylon. It's to the side of the pylon, opposite
Well,
of the
and
end
the
zone.
Clemson guy hit him like that
Hit him from
as
the right
he was
side.
running out, so the ball went that way.
Yeah.
Honestly, didn't necessarily matter because Clemson got the ball, went 3 and out, punted, A&M scored a touchdown,
And they missed two.
and then they did get the 2 point,
But
tried
it-
onside,
that-
didn't get it, so the game was over.
That TD, I mean, it could have changed the play call. I mean, you never know if they would have come on the same play or not.
Yeah, right, and also,
So it definitely could have changed the game.
also they could have stopped them and gotten enough time to kick a field goal to win the game. So
Yeah, so I think, that was unfortunate, and I was telling Jimmy, hey, we got to protect Clemson. It's early in the year. Even though they lost last year to Syracuse and still got in.
right, and a loss to A&M wouldn't be that bad necessarily. It just depends
Depends on the rest of the season.
It depends on how A&M season goes because they got a tough schedule in the
They
SEC
do.
West.
So I mean, that was unfortunate for A&M. I don't like A&M, but always seeing the top team go down is kind of fun and exciting.
I was definitely cheering for A&M. I'm not an SEC guy, but I don't want Alabama and Clemson again.
No, I don't want even Clemson in the playoff again.
That's what I mean. I don't want either one of them.
Get them out. Georgia won 41-17 over the Gamecocks. Now, that was a really hyped up game. A lot of people thought that was going to be a lot better than what it was. Georgia got off running. I think at one point they were up 21-0.
They're good.
The Gamecocks aren't bad, but I think Georgia is just that good.
Well, they say, South Carolina's a really hard place to go play.
Yeah. Georgia said, "Okay, we'll come play you. we'll come play and we'll show you how it is."
I certainly hope that between Alabama and Georgia that only one of them makes it in. I don't want both of them to make it in again.
No. You got Wisconsin, like we already talked about, they beat New Mexico 45-14. Taylor had 253 rushing yards, 3 TDs. So Taylor's the guy you got to stop for Wisconsin. And then we know that. Hey, they're a defensive team and they got a good run game.
Well, I
Hornibrook is not bad.
I think people know that. And
Yeah.
I think teams know that. It's just
How do you stop them?
how do you stop that with that offensive line?
Yeah.
So
Yep.
hopefully we can figure something out between now and then.
Hopefully we can. Oklahoma, so they got Kyler Murray. Last year, I don't even think we mentioned him last week. Sorry, last week, not last year. So Kyler Murray, last week he went 9 for 11.
They rolled
for
out
like
49
200-some
or
yards. I mean, he looked good, but he only completed 9 passes, only threw 11. So, I mean, 9-11, yeah, that's good, but you beat FAU, who was awful. At least awful against an OU team.
Right.
So, I mean, yeah, he was good yesterday, though, too. He was 19 of 33 for 306 yards and had 3 TDs and 69 rushes and a couple TDs there rushing. So,
Yeah,
Kyler Murray's legit. He's good.
I think so. As far as UCLA is concerned, Chip Kelly 0-2 to start.
Lost to Cincinnati.
They probably had some high hopes, just like we do.
Yeah.
They're probably pretty frustrated right now. I think he just needs to get some personnel in that fit his style.
Oh, yeah. And he will.
He needs to get a quarterback that's going to, and I don't know that they have that at this point.
Spate.
So, I think he got hurt last week.
Oh, okay.
So they're playing like a
Oh, that's
freshman
right,
or
that's
something.
right.
So
Yeah, but I don't think it would have made a difference in this game. I think Oklahoma's a good team this year. I mean, they got Kyler Murray's a solid guy. He's got some good wide receivers. They got a good run game, good defense again. So, I mean, that was a hyped up game. I think it's only hyped up once again Chip Kelly. Chip Kelly coming in playing Lincoln Riley. I think that was the hype more than anything else. But OU wins that game pretty easily. Auburn beat Bama State. No surprise, they put up 63 points. I already talked about Stanford, USC. Let's talk about Notre Dame. Notre Dame played Ball State, and I can't even say Ball State's had some good teams in the past because they've had some good wins, but not against a program like Notre Dame. I think they played Nebraska tough once, and we beat them.
They played Nebraska tough once. We got a late field goal.
We got a late field goal.
But that was, I think, during like Callahan era or very early on in the Bo Pelini era.
Yeah, very early. I think so. But so the only thing I gotta say about that game is Wimbush threw 3 picks. Obviously not good for him. He's got a decent arm, but he tries to force passes in there,
which is kind of what they've had problems with. Everett Golson was kind of that way.
Yeah. Try to do too much with the ball.
Yeah, I think unfortunately I can't really talk about this game because I was in Lincoln and I was watching the Nebraska game, so I didn't see any of it. But I didn't even notice it because you can't check your phone down there because nothing works.
No.
There's no service or anything.
No.
So I did not until I drove home and then I saw the score. Was I like, Notre Dame beat Ball State by 8. They're favored by 35 points.
Not only by 8, but it was 14-6. So they didn't put up a lot of points. 3 turnovers.
Well, no, it was 24-16.
Or 24-16.
Yeah.
I put 14-6. Oh yeah,
It was
24-16.
Either way.
So
either way, that's a home game. I mean, that's Notre Dame had a great win last week against Michigan, but
I think they're coming down off a high from beating Michigan. I think
so,
that
too.
really hurt them this week. But they won.
They did.
They won,
But
and that's what
when
matters.
it comes down to it, at the end of the year, when you're starting to look at, maybe it won't matter.
It won't. Clemson lost to Syracuse. It won't matter.
Guess.
I mean,
guess.
it doesn't
That
matter.
might
Just
hurt 'em.
because Bryant got hurt
Without
doesn't
a conference
mean
championship game at the end of the year, it could hurt them. But
that could hurt him. Yes. Callahan, Cosgrove, Ball State.
That's
Thanks,
what I
Jordan.
thought.
Appreciate it.
I thought it was
It
Callahan.
was a while ago. Yeah. Thanks, Jordan. Appreciate it. The stats there.
Of course it was.
Of
course we only beat
yeah.
Ball State by 3 points.
Yeah, but we beat them. So, but
Yeah,
yeah.
that's
So
interesting.
really Notre Dame. I don't think anyone expected that, including Notre Dame fans. But if there's one thing you want to take away from that game, besides the fact that they won, is they only won by 8, and Wimbush threw 3 interceptions. So, what are they going to do before the game next week?
So, some of these tougher teams they're going to play are going to watch the film on that and see what they need to do against Wimbush.
Yep.
And, I think they'll beat USC because I don't think USC is very good.
No.
But Stanford, I think
One-dimensional.
We'll
One-dimensional. It's love, man. It's one-dimensional. USC stopped them early on, but then they gave up some big plays, which killed them. So let's look at Penn State. They rolled Pitt, but a very slow start to that game.
Yeah.
That
It's
game,
raining.
Man, there's a lot of games that have been played in the rain so far this year. Torrential, downpour rain, without lightning apparently. But torrential downpour, so they're playing in conditions. So Penn State started off really slow. Second half, rain started to calm down a little bit, so they were able to get rolling a little bit more. McSorley looked good. Pitt, I don't think ever had a chance in that game. It was at Pitt, so you're thinking, maybe that's a tough place to play.
Beat them.
And we've seen them beat them again, or beat them in the past. But Penn State looked really good yesterday in that second half. Ended up rolling up on Pitt, ended up winning that game pretty easily. But one of the things I'm so happy about is Florida lost.
It's like, what was it, 31 years
Yeah,
in a row that they beat Kentucky?
something like that. Yeah.
I mean, that hurt me in my college football pick'em because I took 9 points
Yeah.
or something for
but,
Florida.
but good for Kentucky. I mean,
No, I was cheering for them.
thank you for beating
And
Florida.
it is not nice to see, but with us losing our first game, and you have all these teams with new coaches.
Yeah.
There's a lot of excitement. All these teams are losing.
And
UCLA lost. They have a new coach. Florida's got a new coach. Texas A&M's got a new coach. I mean, it's gonna take a little while. Arizona, and they're 0-2.
They
got rolled up by
destroyed
Houston.
yesterday.
Houston's good, and they play Texas Tech this week.
Houston is good. Yeah, they got. Oh man, Houston just
Ed
rolled them.
Oliver is unbelievable, but
Yes.
um,
Holy cow.
so it's it's nice to see that it takes everyone
It
else
does
a
take
while
time.
too.
Yeah.
So
that I love seeing Florida lose. Florida State. Now I love seeing Florida State lose too. So if you guys stayed up for that game, man, there were some bad calls in that game. It was 100.
very vocal about this game.
100%. The referees were on the side of Florida State. Number 75, the right guard for Florida State. Every snap, he was getting a jump start on the D end that was rushing the quarterback. His right.
Is it right tackle?
Oh, tackle, yeah,
Yeah.
sorry. His right tackle. His right foot would move back a step, and he'd start moving before the ball was snapped. Every single offensive play. It was driving me and my brother nuts because they didn't call it once. And it was, this wasn't like a subtle move. His hands started moving with his leg at the same time. It was extremely obvious. Nathan, we'll talk about that in a second. Thank you. But extremely obvious. There was a pass interference call that they really missed on Florida State. He hit the receiver before the ball was even there. They played Samford, by the way. And then there's
Samford led a lot of the game.
They led the entire game until towards the end. And then they had a drive going to take it down and potentially win the game. And they had an interception. Florida State intercepted it. Guys running back towards the end zone, and it was either the running back or the quarterback got jacked from behind. It wasn't even close to a side hit. It was a block from behind, very clear. They throw a flag. They talk about it. They pick up the flag and say, There's no foul for a block in the back. Total complete crap. I was so mad. I could not believe they picked up that flag only because I hate Florida State that much, and Florida State did not deserve to win that game. Sanford outplayed them. Francois was terrible. They gave him the player of the game, but he actually had a lot of yards, but when it mattered most, he couldn't do anything. Their receivers weren't good. Their routes weren't good. Their defense was awful. Florida State, you're terrible.
The funny thing I thought was,
Man, I was so mad.
you were pretty vocal texting me about it, and then I checked the rankings that came out today, and they have others receiving votes, and Florida State's
receiving votes.
They're the last one with one vote.
They almost lost to Sanford in FCS.
They scored 3 points the first game.
Unbelievable. So, I mean, that just made me mad, but more because it's Florida State than anything else. And they gave a lot of credit to
They have a new
Taggart.
coach.
They gave a lot of credit to Taggart and his team winning that game. But really, you shouldn't be excited about only winning by 10 to Sanford when you had to come back in the fourth quarter to win by 10.
And you were down the whole game.
They were up by 3 until that interception. That gave them a 10-point lead, and that was under a minute and a half left. Mm-hmm. So it's not something that really you could say they won by 3. So congratulations to Florida State, but I'm not giving you any credit for that because that was a complete BS. Made me really mad. I just don't like teams being homered. I mean that's what it seemed like is Sanford was getting homered at Florida State, and it was just unfortunate. They were also playing in terrible conditions. It was wet the entire game, but Sanford, their quarterback was slinging it pretty good. So real quick, go back to what Nathan said. So yeah, after that game, I forgot to mention the Florida running back quit after the game. He left. He's like, screw this, I'm done, I'm out, peace.
The starting running back?
Running back done, he quit.
Where's he gonna go?
He might just quit football. I don't know. I got to read up on it. I just saw a headline about it. I didn't read into it too much. Nathan, maybe you did, but yeah, he just ended up quitting.
I wonder if he's planning to transfer somewhere or something.
Yeah, if he does though, he'd have to go to West Coast, and a school that has tries instead of semesters because he would have to sit out 2 years.
I mean, he could transfer to like a JUCO or something.
Oh, he didn't play a snap.
Oh. Is he supposed to be the starting running back?
Yeah, Grant is starting running back.
Yeah,
I thought it was a starter, but maybe not. But I mean that's bad.
I'll have to look into that, but
yeah. But I mean Florida.
Player quitting the team after the game is never a good sign.
To me, that's a culture thing, and that's one thing I saw a lot of players talking about for Nebraska was the culture shift.
Oh yeah, big time.
They're like the guys that are seniors. They're like, if you didn't see a culture shift in yesterday's game, then you need to open your eyes because holy cow! I mean,
then you weren't watching the game.
Okay, so he wasn't the starter.
Okay.
But he only had 20 carries last year. Okay, so he wasn't the starter, but still, I mean, what does that say about your coaching? Or the kid? I mean, what does it say about him if he's just going to quit his team?
Maybe he should have transferred before the season started.
Maybe. But
anyways,
so
yeah, that was a good point. They were saying that. Yeah, it's good to see. Just wish we would have won.
Yeah. All right, let's go to next week. Couple big games. There's really only like 5 games that I think are going to be interesting next week. We talked USC Texas. Probably is going to be very good. So the running back might have been a sophomore. So maybe not a big deal for Florida. Okay. But Vandy is at Notre Dame. So we saw Notre Dame struggle against Ball State yesterday. But Vandy always plays Notre Dame tough. It doesn't matter if it's at Vandy or at Notre Dame. So I'm interested to see that game. And the biggest reason is with Notre Dame. Thanks for the link there, Nathan, for the Florida thing. With Vandy being at Notre Dame's going to have to show what they did against Michigan. They can do the same thing against a team like Vandy because Vandy, you just never know. They usually either have a slinger or their running backs are really good.
Yeah, I guess I haven't seen how they've done their first 2 weeks, but
I haven't either. But could be a good game. We'll see. Then you got number 12 LSU at number 7 Auburn. LSU won I think they won 31-0 yesterday.
LSU Auburn, okay.
So LSU, they looked good in their
won
first game.
They won 31-0 last night.
Yeah, they looked good in their first game.
They dropped a spot in the rankings, so I thought that was
I mean, they beat Miami in the first game. Now, you can say Miami, maybe they're overhyped, which I do believe that Miami is overhyped and was overhyped, even though they put up 77 against Savannah State. But that's nothing. But you got to look at LSU looked really good playing against Miami. Miami didn't have any turnovers against them. LSU's offense is solid. Their defense is solid. Playing at Auburn, who struggled with Washington, really sloppy game. It's going to be interesting to see how how Stidham comes out against that defense at LSU that looks pretty strong so far this year.
Yeah, that should be pretty good. I kind of expected that to be a low-scoring game.
Yeah.
wouldn't you?
I could see it being low scoring only because
You got two quarterbacks that are pretty good, but
yeah.
Stidham's good, and then
But
you got
he struggles in high pressure situations too sometimes.
Joe Burrow for LSU.
Yep.
So I mean, we'll see.
I'm excited for that game, even though I don't like either team. I want to see.
I want to
see somebody knock Auburn and Alabama out.
Right.
If anyone's going to do it this year, it's going to be LSU.
Yeah,
Or Georgia.
I want to see whoever wins this game to beat Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
Get that out.
Just beat
so
Alabama.
whoever wins this game, because that's all we need.
Somebody beat Alabama. Somebody.
Yes.
Good. Somebody knock them off. Get them out. Bama plays at Ole Miss. It could be It's at Ole Miss. It could be an intriguing game to watch. I would put this.
Ole Miss was losing to somebody really bad yesterday. They ended up
Ole
blowing
Miss
them out, but
struggle for Ole Miss to start the season. They started off slowly yesterday, but you could probably put this game on upset alert because it's at Ole Miss. Bama looked really good in their first two games, but really, who have they played? So you can't really take a lot into that. Tua's going to have his first real challenge at Ole Miss.
I guess that's true.
He is a starter, so we'll see. I mean, I'm gonna say
the only thing. Well, go ahead.
I'm gonna say upset alert. I'm just putting it out there because I hope someone beats him.
The only thing, because you can say, Tua is going on the road. I mean, he is going on the road really for the first time.
Yeah.
But
as a starter.
Yeah, but he came in the national championship and played well. So I mean, that's a pretty high pressure moment.
Yep.
So
we'll see.
It seems like he can handle it, but we'll see.
Ohio State at TCU. So you got two offenses generally high tempo. Ohio State seems to be more high tempo over the last few years than they were before. Haskins is good. Dobbins is good. I mean, they got good offensive weapons. But TCU, I mean, maybe they're going to surprise them. I don't know. I don't think it's an upset, but it's at TCU as well. Ohio State's got to go on the road and play them.
They've looked good the first 2 weeks. Ohio State has without Urban Meyer at the helm. Although they get him for practice, which is bullshit. But I'm excited about that game.
Yeah.
It's, couple quick scores by TCU, and you put Ohio State behind the eight ball. That's the first time Haskins kind of does that.
Didn't Bosa get hurt yesterday?
I don't know.
I think Bosa got hurt too. Oh no, Joey Bosa got hurt.
Joey Bosa's out for the game today.
I was gonna say Bosa got hurt. I'm like, oh wait,
no, he's not playing today.
But anyways, Ohio State, they do look good, and we'll see. I think TCU is going to be the first test this year, and we'll see what happens. And so Washington at Utah. So number 10, Washington at Utah. Utah's looked pretty good this year so far. Not great, but it's going to present a challenge.
Washington hasn't looked great. They haven't looked like and they won like 45-3 against North Dakota yesterday.
It's North Dakota. They're a hockey school.
They are a hockey school, but they haven't looked like the playoff contender that
everyone says they are.
Everyone has.
But for the Pac-12,
and don't get me wrong, they played Auburn the first week, and that's tough.
Yeah, and that was just a sloppy game, but so we'll see. I mean, it's going to be tough on the road at Utah.
That's a tough place to go.
So it could be a fun game to watch. So really, those are the only games that we wrote down as games to watch for this next week.
Nebraska-Troy.
And of course, yes, Nebraska-Troy. So
I'm not sure who Iowa's playing. I know we have some Iowa watchers, but
yeah, I can't remember who they're playing. I don't think it's anything big though. But yeah, I mean, with our black shirts, the way we played this last week, as Grant says, I'd definitely watch out because I think that Troy quarterback, hopefully bring an extra pair of panties because you're gonna need them.
Well, and I think Troy's not too bad of a team.
No,
I think the guys. I don't think that we'll overlook them. I don't think we're gonna overlook anybody.
No.
At this point, but
can't afford to.
We really can't. And I know we're getting pretty close here, but some things that came out this week, they are trying to figure out what they're going to do making up that game.
Yep.
Sounded kind of like maybe during that bye week we might try to get maybe an FCS team, which I hate.
But it also, to me, just a couple times I read into it, what Moose is saying is he'd rather play that week 14.
Right.
Just because chances of us being in the Big Ten championship are pretty slim. Chances of Akron going to their championship game is probably pretty slim.
I think they went to their championship game last year.
Yeah, but I think they already got lost. They lost yesterday.
No, I think they won big yesterday.
Did they?
Yeah.
Or no, their game upcoming next week.
They scored like 60 some points.
They're gonna lose this next week though. But either way, I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll wait and see. I think either way we're gonna get a 12th game.
I think the thing is, the reason why they said maybe that bye week is just because you want to make sure that you get the game for sure, and if you do wait, you might not get it.
It's also a game right before Ohio State.
I know.
So I don't know if we want to do that.
I agreed.
Yeah.
I have heard some things. Maybe try to get like Iowa State that week 14 because they're not gonna be in.
Yeah, if we do something like Iowa State or UCF wouldn't be an option unless we play them during our bye week. But they're not gonna want to come and play us.
No.
It's not gonna happen.
That's
Iowa State, if we play Iowa State, it's gonna be week 14 because we're not gonna take on a good
and even
Iowa
then,
State team.
I mean, they lost a home game. We lost a home game. I mean, you got to figure something out. Whether maybe you go play at Arrowhead, depending on what the schedule is.
And if we do anything, if we end up paying Akron, then we're going to bring Akron back. We're not going to bring another team back. It's going to be Akron.
Right.
It's not going to be another team we have to pay. They're not going to fork over another $1.5 million.
Oh no! I mean, they would have to negotiate some type of deal for that, but yeah, we'll see. I mean, I really hope that we do get a game because we saw a lot of encouraging things yesterday, and I would really like to see this team, depending on how the season goes, to for sure be in a bowl game.
Yeah.
Extra practices for these young kids.
Yep.
A lot of these freshmen. So you have another month, and
yeah. Well, and
Frost would be great.
Yeah, like Grant said, Frost is gonna get these guys ready. I don't think that we're gonna overlook a team. He mentioned the other day on Thursday is every game's the same. It doesn't matter who we're playing. It doesn't matter.
Oh, yeah.
He's like the media. You can hype it up however you want. It doesn't matter if we're playing Ohio State, Michigan, or we're playing a team like Akron. Whoever we're playing, we're gonna prepare the same way.
Yeah, I mean,
we're gonna come out ready.
Whether you're playing Illinois or you're playing Ohio State.
Yeah, but the black shirts, I think they tasted the blood yesterday. They tasted blood. They tasted some fear in the other team. I think they liked it.
It was.
And I think it's going to be even more ferocious this next week.
It was good to see the defense, for the most part, what we've seen in the past.
Yeah.
So.
Well, the past being like 20 years ago, 20 plus years ago. But what we've seen, it was Levante Davis-esque, Alfonso Denard-esque. Watching some of those plays that we made. So it's exciting.
Just need some turnovers this week.
Yeah, we'll get them. We'll get them. So. You got anything else?
I don't think so.
I'm done as well. So, go Big Red. Let's get a lot of positive things to build off of for next week. So, I'm Matt.
I'm Jimmy.
We're Two Average Guys. That's all we got for today. Thanks for joining in. Grant, Nathan, Skylar, everyone that commented. Appreciate it. Ask us any questions anytime you ever want to. We're pretty quick to respond. So, we'll be here next Sunday for sure. Either Cornhusker Nation or Two Average Guys will be coming to you live next Sunday, 2 o'clock. We'll get some stuff out during the week as well as we prepare and see what happens with Martinez and prepare for Troy this next week. I'll be at the game, so hopefully go live next week at the Troy game. So once again, go Big Red, and
we'll see you next week.
You guys have a good week.